Ah, motorcycles, the two-wheel death machines that everyone knows and usually loves. I think sometimes we riders forget that common folk, aka normies, don't see our passions the way we do. When we see a clapped out R1 with a full system on the highway cranking out 14,000 RPM, we scream with joy, while most folks would bemoan that that crotch rocket is speeding and being reckless. While I don't condone that anyone hits 150 miles per hour on a public road, bikers will usually give a pass to insanity such as this because we're riders ourselves and we all felt that thrill for speed sometimes. Some more than others. Incidentally, it's no surprise that many regular people hold some common misconceptions and believe some pretty ridiculous myths about riding bikes. I feel it's my duty as your Lord and Savior, Yammie Noob, purveyor of memes, douchebaggery, and general tomfoolery of the two-wheeled variety, to dispel some of these common myths. And the only way I know how to do that is through aggregating my knowledge in a numbered list, and because you folks just seem to absolutely love content in this format. Before we begin, I would like to thank Filmora by Wondershare for supporting my channel. Filmora is a video editing software that allows anyone with any level of experience to create effective edits. It's packed with a whole host of powerful features. It's got 4K video support, color tuning, and the ability to quickly layer videos so you can get started making all the content you need. Filmora is free to try out with zero risk, and right now you can actually enter to win an iPhone XS. Click the link in the description to learn more. They've got a meme maker and a screen recorder you can try out, which if you've ever used a screen recorder, you know how important it is that they work properly, and this one does. So check out the links below and get started with Filmora for free and enter for a chance to win the iPhone XS. The giveaway ends November 20th, so jump in. Now let's begin with the most common myth that I hear. Myth number 1, motorcycles are dangerous and you will get hurt. The age-old myth. Or rather, instead of a myth, it's more of an understood idea. Bikes are dangerous. There's no shell around you, no airbags, no seatbelts. Why would you ride one of these things? Even though for most riders, the appeal is that there is nothing between you and the road. Now let's look at some stats. According to the NHTSA's National Center for Statistics and Analysis, in 2006, 13.1 cars out of 100,000 ended up in fatal crashes, while the rate for motorcycles is 72.34 per 100,000 registered vehicles. They also found that per vehicle mile traveled, motorcyclists' risk of a fatal crash is 35 times greater than a passenger car. Now that sounds pretty bad, but let's dig a little bit deeper and find out more. There's a great study done by the famous motorcyclist David L. Hugh from 1981 called the Hurt Report. Here's some key findings. 75% of accidents were found to involve a motorcycle and a passenger vehicle, while the remaining 25% were all single motorcycle accidents. Breaking that figure down a little bit more, in the single vehicle accidents, motorcycle rider error was present as the accident's precipitating factor in about 2/3 of the cases, while in the motorcycle and passenger vehicle accidents, the failure of motorists to detect and recognize motorcycles in traffic was the predominating cause of motorcycle accidents. Another super important fact, almost half of the fatal accidents show alcohol involvement. They also found that wearing appropriate gear massively mitigates the risk of injury or death on a motorcycle. So here's what you need to know. Yes, riding a motorcycle is inherently dangerous, but if you're wearing all of your gear, at the very least a really good helmet, not riding drunk, which you should absolutely never do, and practicing what we call invisibility training, there's a great video by Fortnite if you want to check that out, which means basically riding as if others can't see you, you greatly reduce your chances of injury or death on a motorcycle. Another thing you can do, and learn from my mistakes on this one, is if you're riding, practice good habits. Don't be a statistic of riders who low side on a fun curvy road or worse. I'll include a few links in the description around more motorcycle safety, but the bottom line is, they're dangerous, but you can take a lot of precautions to reduce risk. Moving on to my second favorite myth. Myth number 2. You can't ride when it rains. This one's a favorite of mine to hear. I'd be finishing up work and some coworker of mine who knows that I ride would come up and say, "Yeah, looks like rain this weekend. Not gonna be able to put down any miles on the old steel horse, am I right?" Contrary to popular belief, it's completely possible to ride a bike in the rain. Not only that, but on a hot summer day, a slight drizzle is a welcome reprieve from the sun's unrelenting madness. To be honest, I actually like riding in the rain. Not when it starts raining because all the junk in the road starts to rise to the surface and makes it really slick, but about 30 minutes in. It's really nice. It might sound cheesy, but there's a raw feeling about cruising down the street and feeling the water pitter-patter on your visor and make its way onto your skin between your gear. It's relaxing. Furthermore, it trains you as a rider. You get to experience what a slight loss of traction feels like, and you can deal with it more effectively than in dry conditions. Riding in the rain is necessary to train your skills as a rider, and in my opinion, it shouldn't be overlooked. Another point I'd like to make is that according to the same report I mentioned in the previous item, weather's not a factor in about 98% of motorcycle accidents. So statistically speaking, you're not really more likely to crash in the rain than you are in the dry. So try it out sometime. I'm not saying you should ride in a hurricane or a downpour, but when it's lightly raining outside, it's a nice change of pace. Here's another one of my favorites. Myth number 3, you'll attract members of the opposite sex. I say members of the opposite sex because while my audience is varied and there are females who watches my videos, most of us here are dudes. And dudes, whether we admit it or not, are constantly seeking to impress girls. Or guys, if you swing that way. This is getting complicated because I want to be so inclusive. Here's the bottom line. Girls literally do not care about your bike. I'm sorry. I know it's hard to hear. Trust me, it's hard for me to hear too. Women just don't really care about your obsession with two wheels. In fact, a lot of women that I've met actively dislike those sorts of things. It's seen as a sign of potential instability, immaturity, or both. I've also never run into situations when I'm near or on a bike and women are more attracted. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but in all the years I've ridden, it's never happened for me. But hey, don't let that discourage you. Go out and give it a try. Post up at a coffee shop with your sick bike, keep your helmet nearby, and that way if a cutie pie rolls by, you can say, "Yeah, I ride. That's my baiku, and it's not my waifu." It should work like a charm. Here's the kicker though. If you're a girl and you ride, guys will go after you like moths to a flame. That's still a meme, right? Just kidding, that was not a meme, that was a plague. Any forum you post on, any comment thread, hell, I even see it on my videos all the time. Some young girl with an avatar of herself just says, "Hey guys, just started riding, any tips?" And about 45 different dudes are chiming in thirsting like they've just ran out of water in the Sahara. These are the facts. I'm impartial. Here's another absolute favorite of mine. Myth number 4, they're cheap to own. Excuse me for a moment. Okay, I got that out of my system. Yes, bikes are relatively cheap to purchase. Hell, I'm doing a beginner bike build series for all under $4,000. This is a shameless plug. Go check it out. You're missing out. But my God, you are kidding yourself if you don't think this is an absolute money pit of a hobby. If you were to look up the antonym of investing money in a thesaurus, you would find motorcycle riding. Between tires, track days, gear, more bikes, tools. Did I say more bikes? This is a bona fide money pit if I ever saw one. Now, it's not to say that you can't get away with riding on the cheap. You totally can. But as you ride longer and longer, the scope of your addiction will increase. Maybe one little track day here, it's only a couple $100. Maybe just one trip to the new road with my bike. Maybe I do need an extra set of tools for the van. I think I do need a third track bike. I mean, it only makes sense. Motorcycle riding can be as expensive or as cheap as you want. It usually ends up being pretty darn expensive to ride. One thing's for sure though, you're getting more than 40 mpgs on most bikes, so gas won't be that big of a concern. Another myth you'll quickly want to dispel in case normies hit you up about motorcycles is myth number 5. They're impractical and you'll want to own a car. This one's tough. It's obvious that cars have an inherent advantage over motorcycles here in that they can carry a bunch more stuff than you can on your bike, no doubt about it. But there's plenty of riders out there who only own a motorcycle as a primary mode of transportation. Ask inner city riders what they do, they'll be sure to tell you. And another thing we're not considering is that sometimes we motorcyclists here in the States tend to be very America first when it comes to our thinking about bikes. This causes us to skew our perception and sometimes we impart that view onto the rest of the world. Taste some democracy, motherfucker! However, in the rest of the world, many folks are getting by on just owning a motorcycle. Now, that's not exactly by choice. For many of the world population, owning a car is just simply too expensive and a bike lends itself as a cheap, reliable mode of transportation. But to say it's impractical or impossible to own only a motorcycle is silly. It's totally possible to only own a bike and live your life. Is it difficult? Sure, but not impossible. And trust me, once you get bitten by the bug to ride, you'll want to take your bike over a car anytime. Another myth that I love to hear, and this one's actually popular among motorcycle owners themselves, is myth number 6. I had no choice but to lay her down. I swear I've heard this at least 5 times from what appeared to be the same guy riding a Harley or a big BMW adventure bike. The story goes like this. He was out riding, some car driver slighted him mid-corner, and he had no choice but to low-side his bike in order to avoid catastrophe. Now, I may not be the best source for this given my track record. I'm a back-to-back Daytona slayer, but there are a variety of ways to avoid laying her down. And this also implies that the instinct of the rider in question was to purposefully lay the bike down. I don't know about you, but my gut instinct every time I've been on a bike is to keep that sucker upright and rubber side down. I've had some close calls and had to quickly stand up the bike in order to avoid some disaster. I don't mean to be a dickhead, but this is a total myth. You always have a choice instead of laying her down. And furthermore, it doesn't even feel natural to willingly lay a bike down. They want to stay upright due to gyroscopic forces and all that. So this is just a total myth. Next time I hear this, I'm going to rip a baby's arms off and beat the offender with them. Seriously, I'm going to commit infanticide because this bothers me so much. And our final myth, one in which I'm sure to catch a lot of flack over, is myth number 7. Motorcycles are always faster than cars. Here we go. I'm already prepared for the commentary this is going to inspire. It's absolutely a myth that motorcycles are always faster than cars. I'm not just talking straight line speed. Car tires have a way bigger contact patch than motorcycle tires, allowing for way higher cornering speeds. If you've ever tried to chase a fast driver down in a car when you're on your bike on a twisty road, you'll know exactly what I mean. Or if you want to be safer about it, check your lap times at your local track versus the car's lap times. You'll see that while you're on your big bad leader bike, you can't even keep up with a Miata with a quick driver behind the wheel. It's sad but true. While motorcycles have monstrous acceleration times in a straight line, better than nearly anything on the road, they pale in comparison to most cars in corners around a track. And those bastards even have air conditioning while they do it. How's this world fair? It's not. Oh well, cars can't crack mega dank woolies, and neither can I. And that's gonna do it for today. My sweet children, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this glorified shitpost. I hope you got a few laughs. If you liked the video, be sure to smash that like button and leave a comment letting me know. It really helps the channel. If you enjoy what you've seen, consider subscribing. I post new videos every week, and I'm even giving away a motorcycle. Check out my Patreon to learn more about that. Thanks, and I'll catch you next time. Fact: Yammie has never actually ridden a motorcycle in his entire life. Instead, he approximates what the feeling is by ripping mad Saudi tricks in his car and ghost riding the whip. Goodbye.